Mention the Baberspan 500 to farmers in the area and they grin broadly, with the race guaranteed to bring the rain. Overnight downpours were to turn sections of the route into quagmires, but it was easy going in the opening stages, with the Solwood brothers in hot pursuit of Schilling and Thorn. Third were Bucks Carolyn and Kenny Scholthammer in the raceco on loan from Botswana driver JJ Vormerans, while Carolyn waits to take delivery of a new raceco from the United States. For local residents who all know the best vantage points, RP Reinecker is a firm favourite among the locals and was into an immediate lead in the production vehicle class. Right behind the Bankfin Toyota Land Cruiser were Jackie Joubert and Donnie Smit in a four-wheel drive Jojo Tank's Volkswagen powered by a Volvo engine. One of the more interesting vehicles in the race, the Beetle, was going like a train. Former production vehicle champion Cliff Barker, with Malcolm Joubert alongside him in the SVM Land Rover, were lying second in the production vehicle category. Right behind them was Richard Carolyn in the first of the single-seaters in the lubrication equipment raceco. Carolyn run the Sun City 400, the first event of the season, but for others, there were tales of early woe.
We were stopped at the road over here, and the guy behind us in the muddy conditions couldn't brake and just rammed into the back of us and helped us move the diff about 5 meters forward. We're trying to repair the damage, but we don't have enough spares here.
Favourable conditions on early sections of the route soon gave way to plenty of mud and water. At the front, the production vehicle category, RP Reinecker and Robin Houghton had matters under control in the Bankfin Toyota Land Cruiser. The special vehicle entry of Jackie Joubert and Donnie Smit was still going strong, but the 4x4 Volkswagen was later to run into problems. Also going along steadily were Cliff Barker and Malcolm Joubert in the SVM Land Rover, with the big V8 motor sounding healthy. Bucks Carolyn and Kenny Scholthammer had plenty of opportunity to test their new scratch-proof face visors, and thus far they appear to be working. Steadily closing the gap on his younger brother was Obut Richard Carolyn, who revels in wet conditions in the lubrication equipment raceco. A steady pace and consistency are the elder Carolyn's recipe for success, and it works. Nick Harper and Richard Hill in the Pro-M Rock Oil raceco had also opted for a steady pace. The pair were moving up the pecking order, although all the water around did not always agree with the engine electrical systems. Behind the Harper-Hill combination, the Nissan Sani, in the hands of Neil Woolridge and Paul Vermaak, was lying third in the production vehicle category, behind the Reinecker Houghton Land Cruiser and the Barker Joubert Land Rover. A terrific personal battle was going on between Linton Draper and Corey Ngubeni in the Draper Excavator Hire Raceco, and Special Vehicle Class B leaders Franz Chapek Sr. and Jr. in the V Motors Raceco. There were times when the route marking was a little dodgy, and saturated pans that often stretched for kilometres made life difficult for all concerned. Early race leaders Richard Schilling and Ashley Thorne, it was the end of the road. The Mototech Raceco was limping to retirement with a damaged engine. Out in front of the Quad Racer Brigade, Vickers van Deventer was skating all over the place on the Jojo Tank's Yamaha and doing his impersonation of a motorised two-step. If you thought Van Deventer was having problems, spare a thought for Paul Breckel, who found a new method of coming to an abrupt halt. Oh, shame.
It's the last thing I did for my life. And to get it on film as well.
Breckel escaped with nothing more than injured pride, but his race was also over.
On the bloody police dump road.
Seffi van Skalkbeek and Everett van Rensburg were wet and covered in mud, but on their way to a win in Class C in the Orco in the special vehicle category. The pair looked to be full of the joys of spring. Showing a little more circumspection than Paul Beckel a little earlier, Christo Farabarova was having a great run at the front of the standard quad racer category and was running 4th overall. There was plenty of drama early on in the motorcycle category. Most of the front runners found themselves hopelessly lost in the first 80 kilometres. By the time they'd sorted out that little problem, the likes of Darrell Curtis and Alfie Cox, who crashed heavily and lost his number plate in the process, found themselves in the unaccustomed position of racing alongside backmarkers. From then on, it was a case of having to throw caution to the wind. The conditions did not make it any easier for the back markers in the quad racer category. Behind the quad racer rear guard, there was an all-out charge as the likes of Grant Broomfield set off after the AGA Panasonic Pro Action KTM pair of Curtis and Cox. It was a no-holds-barred racing as the quicker riders threw everything into making up for lost time when they strayed off the route. First into the refuel and service point at the halfway mark was Bankman Toyota Land Cruiser of R.P. Reinicker and Robin Houghton. Reinicker's intimate knowledge of the Baberspan 500 conditions, be they wet or dry, was again turning out to be a telling factor. Not that it was plain sailing for Reinicker and Houghton.
We battle a hell of a lot through that water.
Lubrication Equipment Race Co.
We got lost there for 20 minutes, man.
The service area was getting a little crowded when Bux Carolyn and Kenny Scholthammer arrived in a sick-sounding car that was headed for retirement. A drive in the park it was not.
We can't, we've been lost, all of us, even with navigators. We're getting lost. Anyway.
It was back to the fray for Barker and Joubert in the SBM Land Rover. They were just ahead of Richard Carolyn, with Craig Draper and Wade Perrins charging into the service area in the Castrol Raceco, after moving from 55th position to 5th. Preparing to tackle the last leg, Paul Vermaak in the Nissan Sani hot seat was in philosophical mood.
Hey, Maddie, that thing was visor and keep things clean. But the car's well, so it should be up there just there.
The service area was a hive of activity with cars in and out of the pits at regular intervals. For some, like veteran Linton Draper, the long-distance races get tougher and tougher.
This is really a test of man and machine. And I think maybe the machine's going to outlast this man today, that's for sure. But, yeah. I tell you, I thought we'd steady come to an off-road race, not a jet ski race. We had a pan down the bottom there. You just had to put foot, but it's been great, eh?
Back on the route, the Reinicker Houghton Bankman Toyota Land Cruiser was running at the front of the field and leading the production vehicle category ahead of the Barker Joubert Land Rover. Young locals found plenty of ways to amuse themselves as they waited for the cars to appear on the scene, with crews given an enthusiastic reception. With brother Bux and Kenny Scholthammer and the Silverwood brothers among the retirements, Richard Carolyn in the Lubrication Equipment Raceco had taken charge of the special vehicle category and was third on the road. Local pair Neil Slemmer and Henry Costain in the Toyota Hilux were in complete control in Class E in the production vehicle category and were given a tremendous reception by the young enthusiasts. Marius Bahrain and Sister Margie won the Baberspan 500 last year in the Raceco. With the little mighty mag hardly missing a beat, Bahrain was second in the special vehicle category and had taken over the lead in Class B from the Chepek father and son team. Well, not all the local inhabitants were impressed by what was going on in the race, but Hein Grabber and Charles Bommerens had cause for satisfaction. They were on their way to a top 10 finish for a win in Class G in the production vehicle category in another Toyota Hilux. It was an impressive performance from the pair, but behind them there was plenty of drama unfolding in the motorcycle section. Because of the early mix-up of the route, the two-wheeled field was still closely bunched with a real scramble going on up front. Darrell Curtis on the AGA Panasonic Pro Action KTM led from Grant Bloomfield on the Lesotho Office Equipment Honda, right on his tail. Alfie Cox on the Castrol KTM was closing in for the kill with Alan Julian on another Lesotho Office Equipment Honda, also well placed. There was a terrific battle going on between Alex Vowles on the Antilex Dairy KTM and Lance Trethaway on another of the LEO Hondas, with riders still having problems finding the right route. The impressive Vickers van Deventer had the quad racer category under control on the Jojo Tanks Yamaha, with Richard Manning out in front of the 200 motorcycle class on the dealer team Yamaha. At the front of the field, it was all over by the shouting for Arpi Reineke and Robin Houghton in the Bankman Toyota Land Cruiser. At the final control, Reineke knew another Baberspan 500 win was in the bag, and he was all smiles. With the SBM Land Rover's V8 engine still sounding crisp, Cliff Barker and Malcolm Joubert were running second in the production vehicle category, trailing Reineke and Houghton by around 25 minutes. Barker and Joubert had opened up a 15-minute gap over the Nissan Sani in the hands of Neil Woolridge and Paul Vermaak. Another Baberspan triumph for Arpi Reineke and a tremendous result for Toyota runners, with 6 of the top 8 placings in the production vehicle category.
Ons het een deel gehad wat ons deur 'n swamp moes gaan wat omtrent 5 kilometers oor die veld gestrek het. En die instruksie was na die of voor die swamp was dat jy met die merkers volg. En op die einde van die swamp was daar bloekombos geweest. En die diskant sien ons 2 of 3 verskillende bloekombos en dan weet ons nie watter een van die twee moet jy na ry nie. En dan sit jy met die probleem, jy kan nie net ry waar jy wil nie, want dis almekaar hierdie swampe en jy weet nie wanneer val jy in een van daai goed en jy sit vas nie.
Like good wine, Richard Caroling gets better as the years go by. There were no frills attached to his victory in the special vehicle category in the lubrication equipment raceco, and he steadily ground the opposition into submission. A tremendous performance saw Marius Bahrain second overall and take Class B honours in the mighty mag. Third overall went to Nick Harper and Richard Hill after a steady drive in the Pro-M Rock Oil raceco. Richard Caroling's victory in the Baberspan 500 gave him his second special vehicle win of the season, and with it an early grip on the championship.
There's no enjoyment in it, it's just survival. It's just a matter of getting out there, keeping the car on the road and just driving carefully and just keeping it moving forward. As long as you do that, you stand a chance.
To no one's great surprise, Vickers van Deventer came cruising home on the Jojo Tanks Yamaha Banshee to take overall honours in the quad racer category. Van Deventer had over 20 minutes in hand over Yuri Duplessis, who put in a late charge to open up a gap of over 40 minutes on third-placed Benny van der Westhuizen, with Christo van der Merwe the first of the standard quads. Vickers van Deventer is unbeaten in long-distance and short-course events this season, and is currently the dominant force in South African quad racing.
Ek was so dankbaar vir die reën, die boere het reën nodig gehad vir hulle mielies. Ek geniet die reën, hoe meer modder hoe lekkerder is dit vir my. Ou kan lekker speel, dit is baie lekker. Maar die wedren was baie swak gemerk na volgens my in daai seksie. Ek weet nie of hulle stickers afgetrek het nie, maar andersins was dit lekker.
There was late drama in the motorcycle category. Alfie Cox on the Castrol Pro Action KTM was at the front of the field at the final bike refuel point, with teammate Darryl Curtis out of the running. Behind Cox, a terrific scramble had developed with Brian Bontekoning on the Shumwells Yamaha up into the top 3, along with Alex Vowles on the Antilex Dairy KTM. There was also bedlam at the refuel point as Grant Broomfield on the Basutu Office Equipment Honda appeared on the scene. The final act of what had been a terrific race held a few more surprises. Every second was now crucial, with Bontekoning first away from the refuel, only to drop out of the race on the run into the finish. A fired-up Bloomfield caught Vowles in the final leg to finish second ahead of Lance Trethaway and Louis Kotzer. For Alfie Cox, it was a win that was expected, but one which didn't come easy.
Today was just unbelievably tough. I think it was just pressure all the way, and you know, I was under pressure being so far behind. You have to take chances if you want to make up time. I had a big crash today, one I haven't had in a long time. And but it's the way it is. You just have to take chances. You just can't, you know, say
on this straight, okay, it's a little bit rough, maybe I'll take it easy. You just got to hold it wide open, because if you don't, you're never going to catch those front guys the minutes that you've lost.
Next up in the 1996 South African Off-Road Championship is the SUGARBELT 400 in Natal on April 26 and 27.